adjective. An adjective adds a description to a noun, and a noun is a name of something. For example, look at this sentence. This is a red apple. Apple is the noun, it is a name of a thing, and red is the adjective. It adds a description to the noun. Red tells us something about the noun apple. It tells us the color of the apple. So it's an adjective. It adds a description to a noun. The adjective red describes the noun apple. Adverb. An adverb adds a description to a verb. A verb is a doing word, an action word, or it adds a description to an adjective or another adverb. For example, in this sentence, the sentence is, this is a really red apple. Apple is the noun, it's the name of a thing. Red is the adjective, it describes the noun, it tells us something about the apple. And really is an adverb. In this example, the adverb doesn't describe a verb, it describes an adjective. Okay? Really describes red. It tells us something about how red the apple is. The adjective red describes the noun apple. An adjective adds a description to a noun. The adverb really describes the adjective red. So, an adverb is a bit like an adjective because it's a describing word, but whereas an adjective describes a noun, an adverb adds a description to a verb, or to an adjective, or to another adverb. And in this example, it's describing an adjective. Okay, verb, vroom, action. This is just how I remember what a verb is. Okay, the verb has a V in it. The sound vroom, vroom begins with a V as well, V sound, so it's a very active, action kind of sound. So that's how I remember that verb is an action word, a doing word. In this sentence, he drives very fast. Okay, drives is the verb. The verb drives tells us what he was doing, it's the action word. The adverb fast describes the verb drives. Fast tells us how he was driving. It tells us something about the manner in which he was driving. He drives very fast. The adverb very describes the adverb fast. So we have two adverbs in this sentence. You have fast, that adds a description to the verb, and adverb adds a description to a verb. Fast describes the verb drives. It tells us that he drives fast. And very is another adverb that describes the adverb fast. It tells us how fast he was driving, how fast he is driving. He drives very fast. Okay, how to recognize adverbs. Adverbs usually come immediately before or after the verb, or immediately before the adverb or adjective that they describe. For example, he drives fast. Okay, so fast comes immediately after the verb drives in this example. He drives very fast. Okay, very comes immediately before fast. Fast is an adverb, and very is another adverb that describes the adverb fast. So adverbs usually come immediately before or after the verb, or if they are describing an adverb or an adjective, they usually come before the adverb or adjective. Another way to recognize them is that many adverbs end with ly. For example, he quickly ate his food. Quickly is an example of an adverb that ends in ly. And in this example, it describes the verb, which is ate. It tells us how he ate his food. He ate his food quickly, or he quickly ate his food. Alex ran quickly to the shop. Okay, quickly is the adverb here because it describes the action. The action is ran. So adverbs tell us how, when, where, or to what extent something has happened or something is being done. Okay, in what is the verb? The verb is ran. It's the action word, the doing word. It tells us what Alex was doing. And how did he run? He ran quickly. Quickly describes the action. So quickly is the adverb. It adds a description to the verb, or about the verb. Let's do a little practice. Identify the adverbs in these sentences. Number 1. The boy slept soundly. Which one is the adverb? Let's look at this sentence. The boy is the noun, and slept is the action word, it's the doing word, it's the verb. And soundly tells us something about slept. Soundly describes the action, so soundly is the adverb. Number 2. The boy quickly drew a picture. Okay, where is the verb? Verb here is the action word, it's the doing word, drew. Tells us what he was doing. He was drawing a picture. And the word that describes the action is quickly. How did he draw it? He drew it quickly. He quickly drew a picture. So quickly is the adverb. Okay, lastly, we went home happily. Okay, answer is happily because happily tells us how we went home. The verb is went. It's the past tense of the verb to go. Okay, we went home happily. Happily tells us something about the action, about how we went home. So happily is the adverb. Some examples of adverbs. Cheerfully. He cheerfully smiled. He smiled cheerfully. Cheerfully describes how he smiled. Clearly. I can see clearly now. Clearly would describe how I can see. It describes the action of my seeing. Loudly. He shouted loudly. Okay, loudly describes shouted in the sentence that I just said. Proudly. He stood proudly to attention. Okay, it describes the action of standing in the example. He stood proudly. Carefully. He carefully opened his pencil case so that nothing would drop onto the floor. Carefully describes the action of how he opened it. Widely. The farmer scattered the seed widely over the field. Widely describes the action. It's an adverb. Gracefully. The ballet dancer danced gracefully across the stage. Gracefully here would describe the action of dancing. These are some examples of adverbs that end in ly. Of course, they don't all end in ly, but